Greetings, citizens of Nindie Nation! Spring has sprung here in North America, but we're all still stuck inside. So let's use this as an excuse to talk about 5 fantastic Nindies that have been keeping our Joy-Cons synced. This list may contain brand new games, oldie but goodie gems, or titles that we picked up because of a sale, but they are all from independent developers and they all bear the Nindie Nation seal of approval. Nindie Nation is a weekly podcast and we've got a bunch of stuff we can't wait to tell you about, but you're here for the games, so we'll save that for later. For now, here is our Spring 2020 list of 5 Nindies we love. At first glance, Sparklight might blend in among multiple indie games already available on the Switch, and with its price usually hovering around $20 to $25, it could be an easy game to overlook, but don't let that deter you from this Nindie gem with a AAA level of polish. Citizens of Nindie Nation know that we cover a lot of games like this. Top-down action RPGs with some kind of twist are a dime a dozen on the eShop, so if we're going to cover it, it's gotta be an exceptional game that also brings something unique to the genre. What the team at Red Blue Games delivered is one of the most refined and fine-tuned roguelike adventures available. A stellar soundtrack backs up the various environments you'll hack and slash your way through, with fun mini puzzles scattered about and loot to collect around every corner. With an intriguing story setting a brisk pace, you'll eventually build up your base, which floats high in the sky above the ever-changing world below. The people you encounter during your time on the surface can be persuaded to join your floating town, then expanding the base, adding story beats, and opening shops which all assist with Sparklight's character development and progression. Sparklight gives the impression that Red Blue Games' first priority was to build a quality action adventure with pacing and combat not unlike Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. However, after laying that foundation, Red Blue Games added in the random world mechanics and roguelike elements, which turned it into an all-around rewarding RPG experience. Sparklight also encourages quick progression and never penalizes you too much if you fail to escape the surface on your own. The entire game carries a level of polish above most titles we see on the Switch, indie or not, and because of that, Sparklight stands among the top of the list for our favorite action RPGs. Bleed is admittedly a series I slept on. I knew it was beloved by many and frequently on sale, so when I saw the Bleed Complete bundle for just over $4, I knew it was time to dive into this collection, which includes both Bleed and Bleed 2. At its core, Bleed is a fast-paced, combo-chasing action game that will have you mixing melee and ranged combat while dodging some projectiles and reflecting others. As you can see from the footage, there's a lot happening on screen, but it almost always stays manageable. Both games have a campaign that can be completed in about an hour each, but are clearly developed with the understanding that you'll replay the short 2 to 5 minute levels many times over, and both titles are different enough to warrant their own playthroughs. The original Bleed steers you through a nonsense action movie plot, focusing on utilizing your various abilities and keeping the momentum going, while encouraging you to revisit levels and try to get the highest scores possible so you can earn currency to unlock new abilities and upgrades. Bleed 2, on the other hand, provides most abilities and upgrades up front, with your scores and playthroughs unlocking wholly new characters that create entirely new playstyles, and this distinction makes both games stand alone and worthwhile. With lighthearted humor, colorful visuals, addictive gameplay, and plenty of reasons to keep going back, the Bleed Complete bundle is a Nindie Nation mainstay for quick bursts of frenetic arcadey action and has been keeping our Joy-Cons synced for quite some time. Neopopcorn is an indie developer fairly new to the Switch, but the 2-person team has hit the ground running by porting their Steam Early Access title 3000th Duel to the Switch. 3000th Duel is an exploration platformer, otherwise known as a Metroidvania, and does 2 things much better than most of its contemporaries. First of all, the combat is deep, varied, and always rewarding. Secondly, the general flow of the game and layout of the world is among the closest we've ever seen to the Igarashi-developed Castlevania games. 3000th Duel will feel right at home for fans of Symphony of the Night or the trilogies for Game Boy Advance and DS. The tone is dark, set in a pseudo-futuristic fantasy world, and while the story isn't much to write home about, the visuals look nice and the music fits the mood well. Presentation won't set 3000th Duel apart, but the gameplay and systems that support character development do. You'll craft abilities and items, work your way through a massive skill tree, and partake in engaging combat all the way through. Our favorite exploration platformer, or Metroidvania, on the Switch is Time Spinner, but if you've played that, or you're looking for something a bit more familiar, 3000th Duel can easily deliver over 30 hours of adventure that feels right at home within the genre. And the newest release on this list is a little $4 gem that we have fallen in love with here at Nindie Nation. Developed by Panda Indie Studio, a small team in Italy, the newly released Null Drifter is an addictive twin-stick shooter that puts the light in roguelite. As a program trapped inside a computer, you shoot down enemies and asteroids in a simplistic 1-bit art style with levels and music that's generated by an AI. The randomness is present throughout the game's presentation, and it really adds to the overall aesthetic. You'll shoot down all the things, avoid all the enemies, and last as long as you can, and when you die, you'll unlock a new color palette and use your currency to purchase upgrades, most of which are permanent, with a few of them only applying to your next run. It's fun, it's simple, it's very fast-paced, and something about Null Drifter is just mesmerizing. There's not much else to say about Null Drifter because the game itself is so simple, but know that this indie gem carries our recommendation, even if it's at its full MSRP of $4.99. One of our favorite aspects of covering independent games here at Nindie Nation is when there's an unlikely combination of genres or a refreshing take on an existing concept. And you get both of these with Skyrogue. Originally released way back in 2014 through Early Access and itch.io, the 3 developers at Fractal Phase built their arcade air combat game alongside a dedicated community who helped craft the title into something truly special upon its 1.0 release in 2017, and it continues to evolve well into 2020. Skyrogue looks and sounds like it was developed by the team at Sega responsible for the beloved Virtua Racing and Virtua Fighter series that dominated the arcades in the early to mid-90s. There's bright colors and sharp, low-polygon visuals that look striking in motion. The controls are tight and responsive, and everything feels just a little bit, extreme. Not only is Skyrogue a refined air combat arcade sim, but as the name suggests, it adds a roguelike element to shake things up. With each mission, you're given a task of chasing down a group of drones, flying aircraft carriers, or any other number of enemies on land, sea, or in the air. After that task is complete, you're free to return to your base or continue to take out waves of reinforcements and other enemy bases to earn money for new aircraft, upgrades, or weaponry. With every reward, though, comes risk, and if you're shot down, you're starting over from the very beginning, albeit with maybe a couple more options for your loadout. I picked up Skyrogue when it was on sale for $10 and find myself revisiting it constantly, whether I'm just trying to make it a little further than the last time, partaking in some online dogfighting, or tackling the endless mode. If, like me, you've been looking for an air combat game ever since Crimson Skies on the original Xbox, Skyrogue is definitely the game for you. And there you have it, 5 indie games that have been keeping us occupied recently. There's plenty of rogue-type gameplay, so you'll get a lot of replay value. Most of these games are $10 or less, and you've got everything from simplistic twin-stick shooters to deep action RPGs, and even a dogfighting sim. Don't see many of those. If you happen to pick up any of these titles, let us know what you think of them over on Twitter at Nindie Nation. And if you're looking for more content, Nindie Nation is a weekly podcast dedicated to everything independently developed for the Nintendo Switch. We aim to give you a little information about every weekly indie release and then dig through the weekly sales to help you find the best Nindies at the lowest price. If you want more, there are video versions of the podcast right here on the Nindie Nation YouTube channel, as well as Let's Plays and more videos just like this one. If you want Nintendo content that covers everything else in the house that Mario built, check out our friends over at the Nintendo Village for daily news and features, weekly shows on YouTube, and podcasts. You can find everything they make over at thenintendovillage.com, and we thank them for their support. And with that, we've wrapped up another episode of Nindies We Love. Thanks for your time today, and we hope to see you on Twitter or in the comments of this and other Nindie Nation content. If you like what you saw, please give us a like or a subscribe, or just share with your friends. Until the next video, I'm Jeff. This has been Nindie Nation's Nindies We Love for Spring 2020, and whether you're looking for something simple to chip away at or an experience you can really sink into, we hope this list helped you find just the thing to keep your Joy-Cons synced.